everyone, PushingUpRoses here, and welcome back to another strange and unusual episode of That Time on Murder, She Wrote. Today, due to very popular demand, I'm covering an episode from Season 12. I definitely tend to avoid this season, which coincidentally is the final one in the series because the episodes slowly devolve into utter nonsense. You may recall from my breakdown of Murder Among Friends that the show's time slot was being replaced by Friends because it appealed to a younger, fresher audience, and I have to wonder if the writers and network just kinda gave up on Murder, She Wrote because there were other things on the horizon. It certainly feels that way when you skip around the last chunk of episodes. It just lacks heart. Don't misunderstand, there are very few episodes I actually dislike, but the change in tone and quality is pretty obvious. Now that I've warned you, it's time to dive into one of the most requested episodes I've gotten from you, the viewers. Let's see what you all chose.
So the puppet is the killer.
Oh my god, what have you done? Yes, we have puppets. You asked for this. You asked for all of this.
You said it, I didn't.
As we begin the episode, we witness someone spying on two very happy people leaving an apartment complex.
Gosh, you're incredible.
If this is a one-night stand, it sounds very wholesome. Gosh. Then we cut to, man, you know what Murder, She Wrote super needed? An episode about a televised puppet show. That'll definitely impact the ratings. Wait, is that Mini John Denver? Jessica is working with a company named Flappies Incorporated. Thus the episode title, Something Foul in Flappyville. The Flappies are what they call the puppets, and they seem to vary in size, animal type, personality, etc. Kind of like the Muppets, but astoundingly less cool. Since kids just adore Agatha Christie, Jessica writes a mystery story intended for her nieces and nephews, but it gets picked up for the Flappies, featuring a raccoon detective with a very, very bad mustache. The kids seem to like the new show during the test run, but notice that the main puppeteer, Darren, is using a voice too similar to another puppet he plays named Pound Dog. The kids do not hold back with their criticisms.
The inspector sounds like Pound Dog. Yeah! Yeah!
You guys really know how to hurt a guy.
Wow, fragile. The lead puppeteer expresses gratitude for working with the company, and what the hell is that in the background? And on the other side, we have what every good puppet company needs, a gorilla costume. This reminds me of one of those mind game shows where they ask you if you noticed any changes. Pay attention to Jessica Fletcher. Did you catch the guy in the gorilla suit? As they are discussing possible changes to Inspector LaShaw, a French raccoon, the other workers tell Darren that this will probably replace his main creation, Pound Dog.
It's time to hang Pound Dog up, let him retire to the Smithsonian along with Charlie McCarthy and...
Pound Dog is as funny as he ever was.
Little ventriloquist reference for you there. Charlie McCarthy was a puppet performed by Edgar Bergen throughout the 30s and 40s. You can see him in Disney's Fun and Fancy Free. Fun fact, he's also the father of Candace Bergen, aka Murphy Brown. A confrontation occurs between Darren and Robbie, one of the toy builders, and Darren storms off in a huff. Robbie and his wife, Helena, give Jessica a tour of the area. After Robbie splits, Helena gets overly personal and tells Jessica their marriage has been on the rocks and there's been a lot of tension between him and Darren.
You know, Robbie and I haven't been able to have a child.
So we had a puppet instead. Back to the workroom, where we get a very awkward moment between Jason, a new builder, and Kim, one of the puppeteers. She asks him to fix one of the puppets for her. And they call it puppet love.
Maybe we could, I don't know, have dinner or see a movie or something tonight.
And then later, I can shove my hand up your butt. Anyway, she rejects him because he's an asshat. The other worker tells him that Kim isn't worth pursuing.
Thanks for the warning, but right now I prefer to trust my hormones.
Ugh. He's also extremely protective of the Flappies. When he catches the security guard looking at the inspector, he picks it up to make sure it's okay. Then he talks to it, and makes it talk back. Oh god. He's crackers. Also, is that a body hanging in the background? This company is terrifying. Enter Bryan Cranston as Parker Foreman, head of the network Flappyville airs on. Darren is still going on about his Pound Dog character, trying to get his show renewed, but Parker just isn't into it. In an act of desperation, Darren says that Pound Dog will get a new show with Detective LaShaw, even though that hasn't been discussed with anyone. He even takes credit for the design of LaShaw. This guy is so attached to this hideous dog puppet that he starts name-dropping like a little toad.
The character is based on a book by Jessica Fletcher.
Once Parker hears the brilliant J.B. Fletcher is involved with the writing, his interest is renewed.
Toys, clothing, software, big promotional possibilities here, right?
Software, huh? I can't wait to play that game. Jessica is thrilled with how her characters are coming to life thanks to all the toy builders.
You know, you're both not only very good, you're very quick.
That is what she said. Jessica finds a concept sketch done by Jason while she's waiting for them to retrieve some fabric and Sweet beans. It's something else, isn't it? Darren confesses to the workshop leader, Gus, that he made a promise to get a big name performer to play Inspector LaShaw so he can keep Pound Dog running. And Gus is furious because this performer also happens to be his ex. But he's a pal and agrees to ask her for a favor. Jason overhears this. After hours, a puppet show takes place. Pound Dog seems to be testifying for something, and this is exceptionally creepy. Pound Dog is saying Darren is going to take all the credit for Jason's character design, just like he did when he took Pound Dog's design from Gus. Seems that Darren likes to use other people's ideas.
I find Darren Crosley guilty as charged.
Oh my god, the puppet's reactions. This needs to be a meme. Wait, it's only Jason? God, this guy is weird. And how is he playing all 4 puppets? I designed this graphic to show how he might be doing it. Pretty sure I nailed it. The changes to Inspector LaShaw are almost done, except for one minor thing.
One small change. Voila!
Oh yeah, that really made the difference. Kim, who plays Happy Bunny, goes to pay a visit to Parker, and he's very pleased about it. They engage in some very gross and inappropriate flirtation.
You know what they say about rabbits?
Yeah. They poop everywhere. She's there to show him some of the new concept art for Inspector LaShaw. This is the sexiest unwrapping I've ever seen in my life. Next time I seduce someone, I'm bringing out my ribbon. I'm realizing that this episode has an absurd amount of characters to keep track of, and not all of them are relevant, so let's speed things up a bit. The voice actress agrees to do the voice for Inspector LaShaw. She wants a huge cut. Parker says he wants half of the merchandising profits, illegally of course, or he won't push the show. Darren taped the conversation for blackmail purposes. Robbie thinks his wife is having an affair. Jessica plays therapist to everyone. Arvin, the security guard, farts around aimlessly. My question is, why does everyone want a cut of this show? These people are cutthroat about getting royalties. This is a kid's puppet show. Look at these things. This is a guaranteed hit? So this guy is dead? Wait, who is that?
It's Arvin, the security guard.
That's not who I thought would get murdered. Of course, the one who showed up very briefly in maybe 3 scenes and has no stake in the show. Makes total sense. Even more bizarre is that we're 30 minutes into a 45-minute episode. So far, this plot has been more about the politics of a children's TV program than murder. It's like Death to Smoochie Light. Darren said he found Arvin like this when he went to check on one of the puppets. Inspector LaShaw has been knocked onto the ground in a fit of passion. I really hope they outline the body.
Lieutenant, it looks to me like the work of an amateur.
Ah.
You must be a professional killer. The inspector in this episode, though very dreamy in appearance, is, how do you say, a bit of a douchewaffle.
So the puppet is the killer. Better not tell my kid.
Darren confesses to Jessica that he doesn't know what to do. Jess suggests he just talk to everyone. You know, like when you exchange words with someone else with the intention of resolving conflict. You know, like talking.
Maybe if you talk to the others.
That's it.
I've never thought of that before. It's brilliant.
So you're saying I gotta start acting like a grown-up, huh?
Or at least stop acting like a ding-dong. They get Parker in a conference call, and Jess asks him about how he feels about LaShaw's recent changes. He says he loves that the magnifying glass was moved. Huh, interesting. Now how did he know about that? A package comes in for Parker, and it's the incriminating recording Darren took earlier. The focus group for the new show goes amazingly despite the content of the show, and after it wraps up, the inspector arrests Darren for the murder since his prints were on the murder weapon, an iron. While Darren is losing his mind at the police station, Kim meets Parker and tells him it was her who sent the recording. I don't think she really has a motive for murder, but she definitely has a motive for money and wealth.
You know what they say about rabbits?
They love 24-karat gold. And they still poop everywhere. While this entire investigation is happening, we find out that Helena did not have a one-night stand. She's been talking to a guy with child services so that she and Robbie can adopt a kid. This feels like flimsy padding. I have no interest in these characters because they don't get enough screen time to make me care about their personal issues. Oh, Jason, we haven't seen you in a while. You seem like a likely suspect.
You know something? Curiosity killed the cat.
If this man is not the killer, he still needs to be arrested for being weird with puppets. Let's just get to the solution, shall we? Jessica and Darren confront Kim. I have no idea how Jess came to this conclusion, but after seeing a pamphlet for Fiji on her desk, she somehow realizes that Kim wanted money for a vacation, so she stole the recording from Darren and showed Parker. Is it just me, or is this kind of a lame blackmail? All you want is to go to Fiji? That's it? Can't you just save up vacation money? Despite all this, she did not kill Arvin. Jessica then confronts Parker, saying that he went to the studio looking to swipe the blackmail recording. Parker said he had turned around and seen Darren with the recorder. What a convenient plot point that was never brought up before. Apparently, somewhere off screen, Arvin listened to the tape himself and was also going to attempt to blackmail Parker. Jessica said she noticed that he knew about the magnifying glass switch, but he couldn't have because it was not in the concept art they sent him. He'd only know about that if he had seen the puppet. The Pound Dog show is renewed, and all it took was a little bit of murder. Right, final thoughts. This episode is wild, but also extremely convoluted with a lot of red herrings. So many red herrings that you forget about them because it's hard to concentrate on everyone's drama and interpersonal relationships. It's very quickly cut together too. You could probably tell by the way I was discussing the story that I was bouncing around all over the place. And that's not exactly by choice. The episode really does jump from scene to scene in quick succession. I definitely liked all the campy acting and some of the characters, but I wish there weren't so many loose ends. Are we really gonna forget about the guy who talks to the puppets and has 4 arms? Really? We're just gonna let that one go, huh?
Curiosity killed the cat.
Turned out Jason is just a fucking weirdo, but otherwise harmless. I can relate to that, I suppose. I also don't like that so many things happened off screen and were brought up as the conclusion was happening. It just seemed like the story wasn't making sense, so the writers had to shoehorn things in. They had to mention that Arvin had found the blackmail tape at the end, otherwise no one has any motive to kill this character who we barely saw. As I'm giving my final thoughts, I'm having trouble recalling all of the characters. You never hear from Gus or the voice actress again, I have no idea who this is, and the detective hardly got any screen time at all. A raccoon dressed as a detective got more screen time than him. Hey everyone, Roses from the editing room here, and I just realized that LaShaw is in fact not a raccoon. There is a raccoon named Reginald, but upon further observation, I feel that this is a squirrel. My apologies for this egregious mistake. Carry on. That being said, I was thoroughly entertained. It's the perfect episode for a riffing session with your friends or a viewing session by yourself, honestly. It's such a weird premise that I can't exactly not recommend it. Season 12 is full of episodes like this, really complicated stories with too many characters and flimsy motives that don't crop up until the solution is given. These are not my favorite episodes. I prefer ones with a better ratio of cheesy to serious, maybe a few thrills sprinkled here and there, but the bafflement I felt while watching this one was just enough to make me satisfied in a weird, so bad it's good type of way. If anything else, you should watch it just to see all of these amazingly weird puppets that pop up in the background. If there's an episode of Murder, She Wrote you are just dying to see me cover, then leave me a comment. At your own risk, of course, you may just get another Flappyville. Until then, happy sleuthing. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video on Murder, She Wrote. I know these are trying times, so I hope this video brought you a bit of comfort or some giggles. If you like this one, I have a lot more in this series, but first, shout out to my patrons who make it possible for me to continue making this show, and possible for me to purchase more skulls for my ever-growing collection. If you want to donate, consider signing up, but if not, your likes, comments, and shares mean a whole lot to me. If you want to see more videos before subscribing to this channel, I have a few recommendations. On the left, we have a previous episode of That Time on Murder, She Wrote, and on the right, we have an episode breakdown of Are You Afraid of the Dark? I hope you like iguanas. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.